just yet? Well, then no worries. Ceremony Ford's got hundreds of new and pre-owned Fords in stock and ready to roll home today. From F-150s and Broncos to Escapes and Explorers, they've got every model you could want, and the team makes it easy. No games, no nonsense, just good people who know how to take care of the Bay Area drivers just like they did for me. You'll find them right off at 280 on Ceremony Boulevard, or check out the full lineup 24/7 at ceremonyford.com. Ceremony Ford, your Bay Area Ford store.
Visit Friedman's Appliance in Pleasant Hill to see the full selection of Thermador appliances. Thermador provides a range of possibilities, from refrigeration to dishwashers or cooking with steam or convection. Come into Friedman's Appliance, and right now, you can receive up to 3 complimentary gifts with qualifying purchase. See all Thermador appliances displayed beautifully in live working vignettes at Friedman's Appliance in Pleasant Hill and at friedmansappliance.com.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-207-4545. That's 800-207-4545. Once again, that's 800-207-4545.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ-FM in HD1 San Francisco, an Odyssey Sports Station. Always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch, and YouTube. Powered by First NorCal Credit Union. The clock has hit 0, and overtime is here.
The 49ers win it!
Mark Randy and Sterling Bennett are here for instant reaction.
Stop it. Come on.
We'll take you into the locker room and hear from the players and Kyle Shanahan.
I thought Brock did a good job. He has a chance to win.
And, of course, we want to hear from you, the faithful. Overtime starts now.
Yes, overtime does start now, but that was an ugly one for the 49ers in Houston versus the Texans. Final few seconds ticking off the clock as we speak. And, wow. 26-15 will be the final score. There's still a handful of seconds left to make that an official final score. But 26-15 Houston. They knock off the 49ers in Houston in an early game for the 49ers in week number 8 of the NFL season. It was ugly from the beginning. Frankly, the fact that it was a ball game in the fourth quarter felt like a little bit of a miracle for the 49ers. They lose this one 26-15. Welcome into overtime. Mark Randy with you. Sterling Bennett here as always, as we're with you for the next couple of hours talking through everything Niners and Texans related. Guys, is Sterling all connected? Are we good with Sterling? Sterling, rough Niner game today, Sterling. What's your first thought?
Do I yell? Do we scream? Do you just throw your hands up and say, oh my gosh, what a terrible Sunday, and we'll see you next weekend? Because that was one of the worst performances of any team on defense I've seen this season.
Yep.
The Houston Texans came in, one of the worst offenses in the entire league. No Nico Collins, no Christian Kirk, a running game that was averaging less than 4 yards per carry, an offense that was the second worst offense on third downs coming into this game. And I know San Francisco doesn't have Nick Bosa or Fred Warner. They're banged up. They're depleted. Bryce Huff. They couldn't get a pass rush at all today. All those things accounted for, this was one of the worst defensive performances of any team this year. Can somebody tackle somebody? You have tight ends. You have running backs jumping behind the line of scrimmage saying, I don't have anywhere to go. And all of a sudden, here's 5 free yards. Here's 7 free yards. This was, for the guys that were healthy, a game they should be ashamed of. For a team that was 5-2, now 5-3, you were atop the NFC West. You might not be after this game because the Rams in Seattle, they had the bye week. You look like a bad team, a team that is banged up. And maybe, Mark, that's the storyline here. Maybe the injuries are finally starting to kind of catch up to San Francisco. This was frustrating. It was annoying. And I can tell you this, from the first quarter, it felt, they're dead in the water. They have no fight. They have no jump. They have nothing to live for today. And the entire game felt like that. This was a go to the Midwest, let DeMeco Ryans hand you your bread and butter and say, go back home and take the L and we'll see ya. Because this was a terrible game by the San Francisco 49ers.
Did you know that the Texans didn't punt until the fourth quarter? With 4 minutes and 13 seconds left. That was their first punt of the game, Sterling. Their first punt of the game came with about 4 minutes left in regulation. Their drives went field goal, touchdown, field goal, interception, and that was the end of the first half. Touchdown, field goal, and then punt, and then another punt right before the end of the game, and then the end of the game. And those drives were 9.5 minutes long. Another one that was about 6 minutes long, another that was 5 minutes long, another that was 6, another that was 6. This was just long, sustained drives. There were not a lot of gigantic plays by the Texans offense. It was just death by 1,000 cuts, the Houston offense versus the Niner defense. And yeah, you're right. They looked incredibly, the Niners did. They look incredibly beat up and broken defensively. And then you factor in how the game began, which was that long 16-play, nearly 10-minute drive by Houston. Niners go 3 and out. Then Houston, a 4-minute play, a 4-minute drive, that ended with a field goal, and then another 3 and out. Suddenly you're looking at the first quarter's over, Sterling, and the Niners offense has been on the field for like 1 minute. And then the defense is being asked to do a lot without having any rest, and that is where things kind of took a turn in this one. Niners offense did their defense absolutely no favors, but you mentioned the third down, Sterling. Houston was 9 for 16 on third downs, and it was even worse than that because their final couple of drives where the game was already over, they didn't convert on third down there. They punted twice. They were 9 for 14 at one point on third downs. It was... it felt a lot like last year, Sterling, but considering what this team looked like just last week, shutting down Bijan Robinson and Drake London and that Atlanta offense, which is not one of the best units in the NFL, but certainly a lot better than this Houston offense, the expectations were at least this was going to be a competitive football game, and the Niners lost by 11. Frankly, it felt like they lost by 20.
It felt like San Francisco didn't have any points today. There was no point in this game where I thought, maybe San Francisco has a chance. I get it. There was that Kittle touchdown towards the end, the Demo interception. San Francisco's feeling good. They might be coming alive. Nope. The first play out of halftime, 3 and out, and there you go. It's okay. That's how this game's going to go. And look, teams have lulls. Teams have bad games. We may look back in a month and a half and say, wow, what happened to San Francisco? But unfortunately, not only was this a bad game from the players, this was I think, terribly coached game by Kyle Shanahan, by Robert Saleh, who have been phenomenal this year. What was the game plan offensively? There was a point in time you're down by 2 scores. You have a chance to maybe inch your way back, make it really close towards the end. Let's call a 5-yard behind the line of scrimmage screen pass on first down when the Houston Texans defense is the best in football. at stopping plays like that. For the defense, you're playing soft off-zone coverage. You can't stop a check down to save your life. What was the game plan today? I get it. You don't have your pass rushers. You want to blitz. You want to try to force some pressure. All that makes sense. But when it doesn't work, you have to adjust. And how many times today on 2nd and long, on 3rd and long, because the Houston Texans offense was not this, unstoppable machine moving the football up and down the field. No, it was long 9-minute drives, 8-minute drives, 10-minute drives with plenty of 3rd and longs to go. And almost every single time, the San Francisco 49ers had them and didn't get a stop. The Texans came in today completing roughly or converting 30-ish% of their 3rd downs. They walked out of today at one point in time with a 75 conversion rate on 3rd and 4th down. That's inexcusable. You didn't play an offense rolling after a really good game. You watched them stumble against your division rival, the Seattle Seahawks, and you walk in to their place, you should feel hyped up. You should have some momentum behind you. You beat the Falcons on your home field in prime time. They lost in prime time. You're feeling yourself and you walk in and you do that? That is something that should not be ever a standard in San Francisco. And I would not be shocked to learn there isn't some maybe lineup changes. Upton Stout before the last couple plays was terrible in this game.
Rough game.
There were secondary players hitting each other on pick plays, and it was just an amalgamation of what else can you do wrong to make your life harder for you. This was a terrible night for San Francisco. They deserve to lose this game by 30 points. That's how bad they were this Sunday.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up so much of this on the defense. And I see the calls coming in, I see the texts coming in, and we're going to get to them. 888-957-9570 if you want to weigh in. It's overtime here on 95.7 The Game. Sterling and Grandy with you. Niners lose. It is officially in a final in Houston, 26-15. The final. Niners now 5-3 on the season after 8 weeks. It's one thing, Sterling, if the defense is getting beat just because you got a bunch of rookies and unproven guys and the opponents, whether it's, studs on the opposing side or just players making good plays versus unproven young guys that might not turn out to be that good, that's one thing. But then there's also just simple mistakes of execution. And that was all over the place in this game. For the life of me, I could not understand what some of the plans were for the Niners defense. On 3rd and short, and this happened twice on the same drive, and it happened multiple more times throughout the entire game. This was in the second quarter, midway through the second quarter, on the drive where the Texans scored their first touchdown to make it 13-0. They converted 2 3rd and shorts or intermediates on that drive. One was a 3rd and 4 from the Houston 24, so very early in the drive. Robert Saleh brought D. Winters on a blitz. They throw a simple comeback to Knoll, one of their young rookie receivers out of Iowa State. They have 3 Iowa State receivers, by the way, 2 rookies, for an easy 7-yard gain. Upton Stout, who you mentioned, had a really bad game until towards the end of the game, largely still a bad game. He's playing 6, 7, 8 yards off of him in coverage on a 3rd and 4. Are you scared that they're going to run past you for a 50-yard gain? I guess that's the only reason you would be doing that. They need 4 yards. They need 4 yards. Trust your safety to help you out over the top. You got to play on him. You can't let him just get an easy comeback route on 3rd and 4 for 7 yards and a first down. Then later on that same drive, 3rd and 5, they bring a corner blitz from the right side up and Stout, a quick throw to Braxton Berrios on the right side, where that blitz came from. They gained 6 yards. That time it was on Renardo Green, who played super soft coverage, allowing the receiver to just get to the sticks. I don't understand the strategy involved there. And then in the third quarter, Sterling, this is maybe the most frustrating one. This is not necessarily a strategic thing or a coach telling their corners to, play off a certain number of yards. There was another big 3rd down conversion early in the third quarter for Houston on their touchdown drive that put them up 23-7. It was 3rd and 10 from their own 33-yard line. A quick throw to the right to Dalton Schultz, the tight end. He's 5 yards short of the sticks. Malik Mustafa is playing him perfect. He has him right in front of him. You just make a sure tackle. It's 4th and 5. You force a punt. You get the ball back. Who knows where this game goes? And Mustafa just comes racing downhill, incredibly over-aggressive. Not even a move was put on by Schultz, and Mustafa goes flying right past him. Easy gain of the first down. Chains move. Ultimately turns into a touchdown. At that point, kind of felt like the game was over. That touchdown made it 23-7. There were a lot of mental mistakes. That was one of them by Malik Mustafa, Sterling. But those others, I just don't get the strategy of your corners playing such soft coverage on 3rd and short, because it hurt the Niners all game long.
Well, if you think about it, if you're going to blitz, what does that mean the quarterback has to do? Get the ball out quick. And if you're going to play soft, coverage, and you're going to play this off-zone coverage, you're giving guys 3 or 4 yards easily on usually 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4. And let's be honest, nowadays most guys can get yak. And if your guys can't tackle, well, they're getting 5 free yards every single play. And I think the Niners defense, they're really young, and with Warner and Bosa and Huff out, there's going to be games where it's not pretty, and they're going to make mistakes. And I can live with that knowing there will be growth. And I'm hoping this game can be a growing game for a lot of these young guys. Unfortunately, though, a lot of these guys got hurt today. Sam Okawanu, Jordan Elliott, D. Winters also got hurt. We hope those guys are okay, but it's like you need those guys. You have 3 edge rushers on your active roster. You cannot survive like this. Something's got to change. But with the edge rushers, it took this team 28 minutes to get their first quarterback hit against what has been, if not the worst offensive line in football, the second worst offensive line in football. This Texans offensive line looked like all pros today. And I get it, you don't have Nick Bosa and Bryce, you don't have your dogs ready to go out there and run the race for you, but you can't get any pressure. And when you blitz, guys are wide open, and when you blitz, those guys aren't even touching the quarterback either. It looked like San Francisco was just throwing things at the wall, hoping they worked, and nothing worked. Not a single thing worked in this game outside of a lucky, awesome Brian Robinson kick return to jumpstart the offense, and some gutsy play calling, or some gutsy calls by Mac Jones in this game. Other than that, this was you're stuck in the mud, and the defense felt like they were in between of, someone else is going to make the play for me, but on the same breath of I have to make the most aggressively insane attempt at tackling somebody ever and not even touch dudes. This is right now the most infuriated I've ever been with this 2025 defense. They've made mistakes. They've lost games. This was UGLY. You ain't got no alibi. Ugly.
So you mentioned it took 28 minutes to get a quarterback hit. Is that what you said?
Yes.
28 minutes to get a quarterback hit. It also took them 29 minutes to get their first down of the game, Sterling. So, there's plenty of ugly to go around. Now, the difference for the Niners offense is that is one of, if not the best defense in the NFL, the Houston defense. Yes. And you're going up against an offensive line of the Niners who, even when healthy, is not a top 15 offensive line in the league. And they're down 2 of their 5 starters. Although 2 of the 5 starters they're down, you might argue they're better with the backup. So, it's not as if it is an absolute terrible situation for the Niners offensive line, but it is a really bad offensive line against a really good defensive front. And Will Anderson, my God, just abused Colton McKivitz all day on the right side.
Can you undo the extension? Because, my goodness, he should be giving money back to San Francisco for how bad he was today.
Now, Will Anderson is one of the toughest covers in the NFL. He's amazing.
Right now he is PFF's number 1 rated pass rusher with the highest pass rush win rate entering this game. I'm sure it's doubled by the time this game was over, because it was every play he was in the backfield. Mac Jones had no time to throw for the 4 quarters this game took place.
Yeah, so getting beat by him is not oh my God, got to get this guy off my team, he's terrible. But the quickness with which it happened was very alarming, and it just goes to show when your defense is doing what they did, as you just laid out, how terrible that was. Your offense doesn't get a first down until the final minute of the first half, and they probably wouldn't have if it wasn't for the Brian Robinson kickoff return and the face mask penalty, because we know Shanahan end of halves in that situation just going to run the ball a couple of times, let the clock run out to avoid a back-breaking turnover, despite the fact that you're down 16-0 at that point. Like, the offense did nothing as well. Sterling, the fact that this was a one-possession game, the Niners scored a touchdown and got a 2-point conversion. Jake Tonjes the touchdown, and then Demarcus Robinson the 2-point conversion. The final minute of the third quarter made it 23-15. It was a one-possession game going into the fourth quarter, Sterling. I have no clue how. This was the most lopsided Niner game I've watched in recent memory. I'm sure there's like one last year. There's a bunch
Packers
of them.
And Bills game for sure.
Of them last year.
Those teams were terrible. This team is 5-2 entering today.
Exactly. And the fact that it was technically a one-possession game in the fourth was absolutely absurd. I don't know whether to credit the Niners or bag on the Texans for why that was the case. But I just don't want the final score to sway anybody in one direction. This was an absolute dominating win by the Texans. Niners had no chance, and they did not deserve being in this game from the jump.
No, and you would like to see some fight, and maybe offensively there was, and I'm not going to call out guys on defense. It was just an overall bad day from the entire unit. Safeties, linebackers, edge rushers, the interior defensive line. Even when they did get stops, here's a holding call on Upton Stout. It's negated. Like, there was a play in this game where the Texans got called for 2 holding penalties, but you got called for illegal hands in the face or something like that. Yep. And it was like, oh my gosh, it could have been 2nd and 22, and all of a sudden it's 2nd and 12. And that worked out for San Francisco. They got a field goal. The Texans did, but it's like, every time San Francisco did one thing good, it was like, here's 2 things bad. There were so many big chunk plays for the Houston Texans on the ground. A 50-yard check down to Woody Marks. Woody Marks, good player. One of the best collegiate pass-catching running backs in football last year at USC. But 50 yards on the ground.
That was on Tatum Bethune. Bethune just lost them.
Come on.
Woody Marks kind of got stuck in the wash at the line of scrimmage, and I think at that point, Bethune, who, looking at how it played out live, it looks like that was Bethune's guy. Bethune saw him kind of get lost at the line of scrimmage. In my mind, then it's like, okay, I'm good. He's not going out for a route. I can focus on the quarterback. And then a second later, Woody Marks spits out from the right side, catches the dump off. And because what that play was, it was a play-action fake, and it was one of the rare times the Texans tried to push the ball down the field. That was a classic play-action. We're taking a deep shot. That was one of the times where the Niners' corners and safeties actually covered it really well, didn't allow Stroud anywhere to throw the ball down the field, at least where he wanted to, but because Bethune kind of got lost, Woody Marks wide open, because all the routes were deep down the field, there was nobody within like 30 yards of Woody Marks, and you give him space, he's a tough guy to bring down. 50-yard catch and run, Sterling.
Dude, there was a play in this game. I don't know what quarter it was. I know it was second half. But the Texans are running the football, and everyone's muddied up. All the bodies are in between the tackles. The running back's kind of dancing. And where do I go? Like, where's the hole I can jump through? Yep. Tatum Bethune is standing right on the other side of the line of scrimmage, kind of waiting for him to come get him. He's like, screw it. I have to hit somebody. And he hits guys that are blocking Texans offensive linemen. Like, no. You have to plug the hole. Why are you tackling your defensive line? Why are you wanting to hit the offensive lineman to then create a hole and take you out of the play entirely? Now, I don't know what his mindset was, but I can tell you this. Your job as a linebacker is to plug the holes that the offensive line creates, and the defensive line can't close up. You don't evade the hole and say, here, Woody Marks, here, Nick Chubb, I got to hit somebody because my testosterone's running too high, and I just got to let it loose. Be patient. The play will come to you at times. You don't have to make the hard-hitting play. You don't always have to hit somebody. The Niners' young defense looked outmatched, for sure, against an offense that didn't have their top 2 receivers and didn't even have Tank Dell, had one of the worst rushing attacks in all of football. That's odd how that happened, because they're making plays like this, undisciplined plays. Penalties were a major problem in this one for the defense, and the linebackers were terrible, to a point of, this may be the first time all year that you can feel the impact of not having Fred Warner, of not having Nick Bosa. Yeah, there have been small glimpses of that, but had Fred Warner played this game, I don't know if the Houston Texans scored 20 points. That's how big of an impact he can have. And to have Bethune out there, for as great as he was against the Falcons, I'm having questions of, hey, should Curtis Robinson start next Sunday? Because that was disgusting today from a second-year linebacker.
Yeah, no, it was not good. I mean, he led the team in tackles, but there was a lot of missed assignments and a lot of blown coverages as well for the Niners. It was ugly all the way around. The defense against a really, really, really bad Houston offensive unit, specifically the offensive line, and really their pass catchers, not necessarily bad, but very unproven considering the injuries to Nico Collins and to Christian Kirk. That was a terrible performance by the Niners defensive unit. Now, the Niners offense against a really good Houston defense, not pretty either, but a little more understandable considering the injuries you still have on offense. Going up against that defensive front, that makes a little bit more sense, but it was not pretty on either side of the football. Let's go out to the phone lines. It's overtime here on 95.7 The Game. That's Sterling. I'm Grandy. If you want to weigh in, 888-957-9570. Dave is in South San Francisco and wants to weigh in. What's up, Dave? What do you got?
Oh, hey, well, we're back to the roller coaster. Do good 1 week against Atlanta, blah, blah, blah. But all I want to say was, I can't play football, so I don't want to criticize Jennings, but take the man on, please. Teach him how to catch the ball or put him on injured reserve. He has like 5 broken ribs. Tell Jed York to spend some money and get someone else. Put him on IR, please, because he, missed a critical pass. He dropped it. Then the worst one, he got, intercepted at the end zone. The guy's a great player, but I think he needs to heal up. I don't want to criticize anybody, but I think we could have won that game today. That's all I got to say. Thanks.
Appreciate the call, Dave. So you're talking about on the drive that ultimately ended in a Niners touchdown to make it a one-score game, 23-15 late third quarter. There was a deep shot to Juwan Jennings down the middle. Perfect throw, honestly, by Mac Jones. Put it on his man. It was pretty good coverage, but Juwan had a half a step. He had him on his back hip. And it was over the shoulder, tough one to track, but a professional wide receiver has got to make that catch, hits him in the hands, he drops it.
He's made that catch plenty of times in the past.
Yes, he's got to make that catch. Now, to our caller's point, that's one he has to catch. To Juwan's credit, he then followed it up later on that drive on a 3rd and 17 with a jump ball versus 2 defenders, one of the greatest catches I've seen Juwan make in his career. And he has a lot of really, really good ones that directly led to the touchdown the next play, by the way. So Juwan giveth and Juwan taketh. I understand Juwan has to make that first one, but he also had a hell of a catch that led to the touchdown just a couple plays later, Sterling.
My biggest issue, if you want to call it that, with Juwan Jennings isn't the one drop today. It's every single week now, there's a random holding call that gets a 5-yard play called back or an 8-yard play called back.
Early in the game, Sterling.
Mac Jones scrambles for a first down, boom, face mask on Juwan, which it was there. It was kind of ticky-tack, but it was there.
The crazy thing was he did a good job blocking in the first place. Mac had
didn't have to do it.
Mac had already gained all the yards, and then somehow he just lets I think it was his left hand kind of slide up along the receiver or the corner that he's blocking and clips his face mask. And I don't understand how you can let that happen.
And
yes.
And we love Juwan Jennings. He's been so good for so long. There's so many things you can point to and say they wouldn't be here without Juwan Jennings. They wouldn't have done that without Juwan Jennings. But this year alone, you can sense there is this underlying frustration with him, whether it's himself, whether it's because of the injuries, the contract stuff. 2 weeks ago, he was yelling at Kyle Shanahan on the sideline twice, and he gets separated. And now you're having these small plays that do add up over time of, holding call here, a face mask here, negates a good play here, and maybe a drop or two a game, which, again, I love Juwan Jennings, but I think we are seeing the fan base to a certain extent. I think we're hearing the caller say it too. There does seem to be this, if you cannot help us, go get healthy. We'll take you in week 15. We'll take you in week 14. And I get it, San Francisco's trying to maneuver the IR thing, but Purdy's out, Pearsall's out.
And by the way, with the games that they have missed, you could have put them on IR and save roster spots, by the way, too.
I'd love to have 5 more edge rushers to give us some depth.
Yep, absolutely.
But I do think there is this sense of, from the fan base and maybe the team itself, and I don't know who else, but Juwan Jennings has not been playing his best football, and you could argue there have been more negative plays for Juwan this year than positive ones that have impacted San Francisco's offense.
Yeah. 888-957-9570 if you want to weigh in. I see you, Matt. I see you, Guru. We got to hit a break here in just a minute, so I don't want to ask one of you guys to squeeze in your thoughts really quick. If you hang out on hold, Matt and Guru, we will get to you when we come back. It's overtime here on 95.7 The Game. The Texans knock off the Niners 26-15 the final. Honestly, it didn't really feel that close. Niners lose. They're now 5-3 on the season. We'll see what happens around them in the NFC West. We'll keep an eye on some of the other games going on as well. We got to hit a break, though. When we come back, we'll continue to take those calls. We'll break down more from this football game. And before we wrap up, of course, we're going to hear from Kyle Shanahan and maybe some Niner players speaking in the locker room after this game. All right, Niners lose to the Texans 26-15. It's overtime on 95.7 The Game. We're just getting going. We're with you until 3 o'clock today. Grandy and Sterling with you. More next on 95.7 The Game.
Are you curious about who offers the best deals on top-rated Samsung, LG, and Sony TVs? The answer is surprising. It's not online, and it's not the warehouse clubs. The best deals on top-rated TVs are at Video Only. Don't believe it? Then check out the trade-in deals at Video Only. How about $500 for your old TV? Try doing that online. Before you buy that new TV, drop into Video Only. If you don't, you'll be sorry.
The NBA season tips off, and so does DraftKings' newest fantasy game. DraftKings Pick 6 is the easiest way to play for big wins, with every possession giving you a shot at real money. Here's how to play. Just pick more or less on 2 or more stats, and unlock the upside every game brings. The better your picks, the bigger your payout. Pick 6 is available in your state. Plus, new DraftKings customers can get $50 in bonus picks with just a $5 entry on your first pick set. Don't just watch basketball, cash in. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code THEGAME. That's code THEGAME. Play just $5, get $50 in Pick 6 bonus picks. Make the call. Ride the upside. In partnership with DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 bonus picks that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Hi, this is Brian Bakhtiar, Executive Manager of Stevens Creek Subaru. The fall season is upon us. That means football, baseball playoffs, and kids back in school. At Stevens Creek Subaru, this is one of our favorite times of the year. Fall is also when we get our first rains of the year. That means dangerous road conditions. That is, unless you drive a Subaru with symmetrical all-wheel drive. Subarus are built for any road condition or terrain, whether it's a drive to the coast or up to the snow. The safest pick is a Subaru.
This month, lease a new 2025 Crosstrek 25i Premium for just $238 per month. Just $238 a month for a new Crosstrek from Stevens Creek Subaru in San Jose. 36-month lease. No security deposit needed. $29.95 due at signing, plus tax, license, and registration fees. Includes $85 dealer documentation fee and first month payment. Acquisition fee $650. MSRP $30,177. 15 cents per mile over 10,000 miles a year with Tier 1 approved credit. $300 disposition fee. One at this payment. VIN number S8268128. Offer expires end of month. See Stevens Creek Subaru for details.
On Stevens Creek Boulevard or online at StevensCreekSubaru.com. Buckle up and drive safely.
What if you had the smartest Wi-Fi? If you did, it'd be Xfinity, of course, and it'd come with their best state-of-the-art equipment. It would boost speeds to the devices that needed them most, prioritizing your most important connections, whether you were streaming, gaming, or gaming while pretending to work. And it would let you stream 4. That's right, 4 games on one screen. It would even power your mobile connection so you could bring faster, secure Wi-Fi speeds with you where you use it most. It would be proactive and fix problems before you knew you had them. Impressive, right? And it would have security features that protect you from threats at home and online. Kinda like a force field for your life. If you had the smartest Wi-Fi, well, everything would work together seamlessly to keep you connected, no matter what. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply.
1-877 Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS, Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 1-877 Cars for Kids to reach a friendly live agent. Donation's super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now, 1-877 Cars for Kids. That's Cars with a K to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's carsforkids.org.
Let me tell you about this new Pretzel Cheddar Club. Hey, I'm Carlos.
And I'm Ebony. And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Pretzel Cheddar Club
is the tangy Dijon with the pretzel bun. It takes it to a whole nother level.
It goes perfectly with the chicken and the cheddar cheese and the bacon.
Man, you know how much you love bacon. And I love the different varieties. Grilled, spicy, original. It gets you nice and excited for fall.
Order the Pretzel Cheddar Club with Cherry Berry and Sprite for a limited time on the Chick-fil-A app. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Every morning, we rise and shine. Make breakfast, and brush away the night's rest. These routines help us start the day off right. Nature-Made vitamins are a simple step in that daily care regimen. Multivitamins with daily essentials, clinically studied probiotics for gut health support, magnesium to help relax the body. Nature-Made is made to care for you every day. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
I spent 14 years in foster care, mostly in group homes. I slept in a lot of different rooms, but none of them really felt like mine.
There are more than 100,000 children in foster care waiting to be adopted. The Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption is working to help find them a permanent home.
Now I have my own room, a place that's mine, and a family who loves and supports me.
If you have room in your home or your heart, see how you can help at davethomasfoundation.org.
Red and Gold Game Day starts at Laughing Monk Brewing. Park for free. Enjoy amazing food, ice-cold beer, and every game on TV. Catch 95.7 The Game's pregame show. Then hop on the free shuttle straight to the stadium. Sign up now at 957thegame.com.
Four-man pressure, Jones for Kittle in the end zone, and it is caught! George Kittle, surrounded by Texans, snares the touchdown, and the 49ers are on the board late first half.
Mac Jones, y'all! Now back to overtime. Instant reaction to the game with Mark Grandy and Sterling Bennett. We are the Bay Area's football station. 95.7 The Game.
Yeah, that was one of the few good moments of the game for the 49ers, that George Kittle touchdown catch from Mac Jones, final minute of the first half. I thought for the longest time that it was an interception, Sterling. It was Kittle running a seam route from the right side, just right up the field, down the seam. And he's double-teamed, and Mac throws kind of a back shoulder, so George leaps into the air, and as he's midair, he turns his body back to receive that football, and the streaking, I don't know if it was a linebacker or a corner who came over to try to get in front of him and knock it down, somehow got past him, and then Kittle snagged it, not with one hand, but with one arm, because he caught it more with his forearm and his body. I have no idea still to this day, or to this moment, Sterling, how he caught that pass. It was one of the more miraculous George Kittle catches I've seen in a long time. And that was a big play because you're down 16-0 at that point. You score just before the half. You get the ball to begin the second half. You're thinking, oh my God, next time the Texans have a real possession, this might be a 2-point game. And the Niners offense didn't do anything in the second half early either, which was the problem. But it gave the Niners some hope for a moment there, Sterling.
Well, I mean, look, we know it's National Tight Ends Day.
Yeah.
And
two tight ends caught touchdowns for the Niners.
When it's National Tight Ends Day, I don't know what's in the water, but something happens. So whether it's San Francisco, you saw the highlights throughout the entire league. Tight ends are on fire. Yep. Dallas Goedert, Harold Fannin, Jake Tunges in this one as well. What an amazing play. Like, at that point in time, you feel hopeless. Of like, oh my gosh, this game could be 30-0, and that would make sense. Like, we're looking at a shutout of how good this Texans defense is, holding opponents to 14 points per game entering today's game. And there was that genuine fear of this offense isn't dynamic. They're not moving the football. and Brian Robinson gets the big return. They make the big play to Kittle. What an amazing throw by Mac Jones.
Yeah.
I know it wasn't his best day,
I thought
but
he had a lot of really good throws in this game.
He had no time to throw, and I thought
and
when he was given time to throw, he was lasering balls into tight windows, they lost, and that stinks. But Mac Jones, I thought, played pretty good football today and deserved to win. He's one of the few guys. I do have a problem, though, offensively, because for how good the Texans' defense is, they're tremendous. It took nearly 3 quarters for them to go to a quick passing game, to utilize some bootlegs, to move the quarterback around. I was telling my dad, we were texting, and I was like, why are we not having Kittle be the 6th offensive lineman? It works so well against the Atlanta Falcons. Just chip one of the edge rushers. Like, give these guys some time. You give Mac Jones 3 seconds, he'll find somebody open. But he's out there tippy-tapping, no one's open. He's got 2 of the best edge rushers beating down on him continually. Connor Colby wasn't that good. Matt Hennessy was okay, but there were some bad plays for him. It was just, I was waiting for the Shanahan offense to adjust. And it felt like the adjustments just never really happened outside of maybe 2 drives in this game. And even one of the drives that you already mentioned, the big Juwan Jennings 3rd and 17, 25-yard catch, that took Trent Williams to hold off the Danielle Hunter as he's getting pushed back like 7 yards for about 8 seconds for the play to develop. And so it's like everything was just, you had to just fight for every blade of grass, and it just took so much to develop. Today sucked. Quite frankly, it sucked, Mark.
It was not good. It was not good. I'm glad you brought up Mac Jones, because I thought that he actually played pretty well, and his receivers let him down pretty relatively often. We can get back to that coming up in a sec. As promised, so I want to go out to the phone lines, 888-957-9570 if you want to weigh in. Matt in Seaside is up next. What's up, Matt? You're on overtime. It's Grandy and Sterling with you. What do you got?
So, honestly, man, the biggest thing for me is it's one game. Let's take a deep breath. Let's relax. I mean, we're winning with a skeleton crew on offense. We're winning with a skeleton crew on defense. We got reinforcements coming, man. We got Brandon Ayuk. His practice window's probably going to be opened up next week. You know, we have Brock Purdy. We'll see what's going on with this foot. You know, turf toe is one of those injuries, man, that can nag at you. I mean, we've lost careers, like Hall of Fame player careers to turf toe. But even then, you know, it's not a moment of panic for us to start being like, oh, my God, we got to do this and this. You know, we got to do all this extra stuff. You know, benching guys, doing this, doing that. We have a young team, man. These things are going to happen. We are going to lose games like this. We're going to proverbially get caught with our pants down. It's going to happen, and that's okay. You know, and for us to be freaking out over one game as a fan base, as a team, no. It sucks, man, but we're playing with very few people, and we were still in it. Even though the score, you know, may not fully reflect the way the game looked, you know, if Jennings is having a bad game, we're going to get Ayuk back. You know, maybe give Jordan Watkins a look. Give these young guys a look. You know, it's not a point to rebuild. We still have a chance at the division. We still have the chance at playoffs. And shoot, depending on how it goes, we may have a chance at the Super Bowl. Is it a little delusional? Heck yeah. But I think it's one of those games, man, where it sucks, but you just got to move on and move forward, okay? But that's really all I got to say, man. I think that's so important for this team to just remember it's one game. Let's pick it up. Let's move on to next week and go from there. We have a late bye week too, man. So, you know, we have time to just get hot again and, you know, take that bye week, get healthy. You know, I think that's week 14. So it's, again, you got to look to the forward and look to the future, not necessarily dwell on this one game and panic.
Yeah, appreciate the call, Matt. I appreciate your perspective. It is just one game. Niners are still 5-3. They have everything that they want to accomplish in front of them. And yeah, the Niners offense is going to get healthier. You are likely, we expected it to happen by now. I expect you're going to get Brock Purdy back at some point. I expect you're going to get Ricky Pearsall back at some point. Right. Your offensive line is going to get healthier again at some point. Like that's all going to happen, yes. Probably Ayuk too. Now, who knows how good he's going to look. You're absolutely right, Matt, that the offense is going to get healthier. The bigger issue today, though, Sterling, was the defense, and the defense doesn't really have a lot of room to get healthier. Now, to Matt's point, the youngsters can improve, but the way they look today, I mean, a handful of them, it looked pretty darn rough. And if that's the way that they are now, they're going to have to improve tenfold for them to become, positively impactful players in meaningful games down the stretch. So, yeah, I split this up into two. Do I expect more from the offense as the season goes along? Yes, absolutely, just purely based on what the injuries currently are. Do I expect more from the defense necessarily, given what's currently on the roster? I don't know, because Warner's not coming back, Bosa isn't coming back, and the Niners have repeatedly said they're not really feeling incredibly eager to make a big move at the trade deadline because they don't want to hurt the team next year to help the team this year.
Yeah, look, should we expect the offense to be able to score more than 15 points if you have your starting quarterback and your receivers out there? Well, yes. Yes. I would expect once fully healthy, the offense will play better. You hopefully can win more games. Right now, you probably shouldn't be winning, but you are for a variety of reasons. However, look at how they've won these games. And we've talked about this plenty of times. They've only beaten one opponent by one score. And all the other wins have been by 7 or less, right? They've had to have these miraculous defensive stops. And let's also be clear here, there's a thing called the rookie wall, where some guys can play the entire year and be fully healthy, and that's awesome and that's great. However, we've seen young guys come out here, be starters in the last couple of seasons, and around week 13, they're saying, hey, I've only played 13 games a season at Western Kentucky, like Upton Stout, or Micah Williams at Georgia. The rookie wall does happen to some guys.
It's also not even just health-wise, Sterling. Like, take C.J. West for an example.
Yeah, healthy inactive today.
His snaps have been dwindling, and he was a healthy inactive today.
And on top of that, you lose D. Winters for who knows how long, hopefully not long at all. But you lose Sam Okawanu, who it looked like he may have dislocated an ankle. Hopefully it isn't worse than that, but he limped off the field.
He's been one of the Niners' best defensive linemen since he's been healthy.
He was the guy that got the one quarterback hit today, 28 minutes in, because Michael wasn't doing anything. Travis Gibson, a practice squad guy, wasn't doing anything. And I think it's, like we talked about plenty of times so far this year, that this offense, this team has to earn the right to make a trade. And they're 5-3. They've done enough, in my opinion, to warrant making at least a small trade. But now you're sitting here, maybe entering week number 9 at MetLife Stadium, mind you, which is a just burial ground for ACLs and tendons and injuries. San Francisco knows it very well. You're walking into that game with 3 healthy edge rushers. Bryce Huff's not coming back next weekend. Sam O could be out for who knows how long. Bosa ain't coming back. You may have to make a trade. If not, you're toting out there Micah Williams and a bunch of practice squad dudes. Like, this defense desperately needs help. The Niners coaching staff has done a great job this year, but the GM, the front office, right now that defense is not only depleted, they're practically begging to get more bodies in that room. The broadcast today so many times was like, well, the injuries are wearing San Francisco thin to a point of you're going to have to add somebody. And unfortunately, if you're 5-3 going against the Giants, you should win that game. But here comes the Rams week 10. That's a tiebreaker game. You don't want to be in that with Micah Williams and 3 practice squad guys. And hopefully Bryce Huff's back by then. But while we're not panicking, I don't think it's wrong to say that this defense has never shown this season to play this bad. And now that you're not getting healthier, there's reasons to buy into the idea that they may play this bad again against better offenses like the Rams, like the Seahawks, like the Colts, and those games can cost you tiebreakers, divisions, and even a wild card spot. So it's not panic mode yet, but there has to be a serious conversation about where this defense is after today's game.
I mean, hell, Sterling, I know the Giants just lost Cam Scatterbo to a dislocated ankle.
Brutal.
If you missed it, don't look up the highlight. It is ugly. But that Giants offense is more dynamic than this Houston offense. And that's the Giants offense that's been playing without Malik Neighbors already as well. Jackson Dart, is going to make some mistakes as a rookie quarterback, but more dynamic, leading that offense than the Texans offense had been up to this point. So we'll see how next week plays out. But you're right, especially after that, you do get some bigger challenges for your defense than this game should have presented for the Niners defense. 888-957-9570. Guru's been patient in San Jose. What's up, Guru? You're on overtime. What do you got?
Hey guys, thank you so much for taking my call. I would hope that I have the optimism of that previous caller that it's just one game, but like you guys have said, like I am hopeful about the offense improving over the course of the season. I am not hopeful about the defense improving over the course of this season unless there are some major changes on that side of the ball. And I mean, last week you had Tatum Bethune wearing the Fred Warner jersey to the game, and this game's for Fred. That kind of stuff only lasts about a week, and then reality hits you. And this game felt like a dose of reality. And when you are already injury struck and you cannot get off the field on third down, guess what happens? You have more injuries that take place. And this defense they're sort of based on like getting home with 4, right? And they've not been able to do that since Fred Warner got hurt, right? And when they're not able to do that, the back end gets exposed. And even with the skeleton of a wide receiver core that Houston trotted out there today, they look like Pro Bowlers. And that's the fear, right? When you have a team like Houston on offense that looks like that, I mean, it begs the question: what is the defense going to look like against the better offenses? And I heard Quinnen Williams is on the trade block. I mean, I don't want to say the Niners need to go out and get a guy like him, but you have to find a way to get home with 4. Otherwise, I think you're going to see more defensive performances like this, especially considering how young they are and how often they miss tackles. Yeah, I'm not. It's tough to be hopeful about this defense after this week.
Yeah, Guru, I think you speak for a lot of Niner fans. I mean, I think I'm right there in lockstep with you. There was this belief, and I think rightly so, and I shared it, that the Niners defense early in the season was likely not going to be the defense that they finished the season with, because all of the meaningful, I'm not even talking about the injuries, all of the meaningful snaps that the youngsters would get early in the year would, likely make them better come the end of the season. And that's kind of when I was trying to handicap how the season was going to go. I got my, Cam always points it out, our guy behind the glass, I got my season predictions that are posted on the wall inside the producer's studio. And I think I had the Niners at this point at 4-4 because I thought it was going to be a little rougher to begin the season. But then the young guys were going to kind of take steps forward, and they were going to ultimately finish at 11-6, which is what I had them predicted at going. And that could still happen, honestly. But given the way that this season has progressed, Sterling, maybe some of it is the unfair high expectations the defense set for us early in the season, and specifically what last week was without Fred and without Nick against one of the most dynamic weapons in the NFL in Bijan Robinson, holding them to just 10 points. And then they followed up with this. It was not just a step back. It felt like 5 steps back. And now, in my mind, as I try to figure out what this defense is going forward, I'm not necessarily counting on that step forward from the youngsters. And part of it also is because they don't have the All-Pros to lean on anymore. You always are going to have a kind of a high floor, a high baseline, if you have 2 All-Pros leading the way in Fred Warner and Nick Bosa. Now you don't have that, and you need your youngsters to take a step forward while simultaneously needing your youngsters to be the guys that lead the way. And you just can't have both those things happening at the same time.
Well, and it also means the young guys aren't just being able to progress and learn and fit into how, what their specific maybe down a play may be or what their skill set may ask them for. Mykal Williams is supposed to be an edge rusher on 1st and 2nd down, set a hard edge, and move inside. Well, now you have 4 and now 3 edge rushers because Samuel Kawano got hurt. He has to play the outside the entire game, or you risk Travis Gibson being out there, or William Bradley King. I'm sure you're asking, who's that? That's the point.
That's a great...
Is these guys are not NFL starting caliber rotational pieces. Robert Beal Jr. is still on this team. He's played 4 snaps since 2023. These aren't guys you can rely on, and I'm not going to say go out there and go get Trey Hendrickson and Quinnen Williams. They just need some depth. You have to be able to plug and play the guys where their skill sets fit. Mykal should not be on the outside on 3rd downs. He was today. Now, I thought this defense all around was terrible at setting the edge. Cornerbacks, safeties, the edge rushers, they were all bad. They were all looking to make the big play and get them back in it, and they couldn't do it because they're out of position. That said, the Niners don't have the bodies to utilize their rookies correctly, and that's a problem. You're not going to have to be able to put guys in the right spots to be successful if you have Micah Williams being Nick Bosa. That's not what his skill set asks for. He isn't a pass rusher. And so when you do that, your offense or your defense gets hindered. They're going to blow third downs. They're going to lose games like this, and they're going to look like a really bad defense against what was a bottom 5 offense in football that didn't have their 2 top weapons, came into today having really one good game under their belt. And if you take that game out of the equation, they're bottom 5 in yards per game, touchdowns per game, scoring, and third down conversions. And today it's like, oh, the defense might be in one of the worst places with all the guys that are out and guys playing out of position. So not doom and gloom, just like, hey, we have some questions.
There's major warning signs here. There's major red flags that are going off. I just hope that they see them. Yeah, you're talking about the Texans offense. Their one good game you're referring to, 44 points in Baltimore. That was a Texans team meeting Baltimore at the worst possible time for the Ravens, and specifically the Ravens defense. They were down like all of their studs on defense. So that 44 points, credit C.J. Stroud and the Texans for putting it up, but it was a fake 44. It was not a real 44. That this is not a team that is capable of scoring 44 against an NFL-level defense. They're hardly capable of scoring 26 versus an NFL defense. On Monday night, by the way, this was a short week for the Texans. They played in Seattle Monday night, and a late game. That game tipped off 7 p.m. local time in Seattle. The Texans looked flat out like they never played football before in that game, Sterling. Like, they could not do anything. The fact they scored 19 points is a miracle in that game. They went from looking like the absolute worst of the worst on offense in the NFL. They also had no clue how to manage the clock. It was one of the ugliest games I've ever watched. The fact that it was an 8-point game is astounding to me. And then they did this to the Niner defense. And I'm not pretending that the Niners defense is one of the best units in the NFL, but the fact that they went from looking absolutely pitiful to being able to put together a number of drives where it takes more than 6 minutes off the clock. Their first drive, 16 plays, 67 yards, 9 minutes and 39 seconds off the clock. They had another 6-minute drive, a 5-minute drive, a 6-minute drive, another 6-minute drive. That should not happen. I don't care what defense they're going up against. Back out to the phones we go. 888-957-9570. Mason in Raleigh wants to weigh in. What's up, Mason? You're on overtime.
Hey, guys. We kind of touched on some of the points I was, thinking about, but my thought is, and you can always go back to football, the 49ers are so shorthanded, as we know, that the guys there who are more veteran, more experienced, almost have to play perfectly in order for them to win. And you can't go into any football game and the other team sets a tone and you expect to set the tone. The defense, being shorthanded, young guys, I'm not surprised that they had issues and they made so many mistakes, but they were on the field way too long. And your offense has to, the pressure of this team, particularly on offense, has to be, you have to at least, if you're not going to score, you cannot be going 3 and out. You can't be punting early. The offensive line, as we know, has had its issues. You got to control the line of scrimmage, and against a good defense, that's what they were up against. They took too long to get going. So all these cumulative time and snaps for that defense on the field, it's not surprising that they started to make more mistakes. So that's the challenge for the 49ers again, is for those guys who are more experienced, how are you going to bring your A game and make sure that you come out to the games and be ready to, impose your will on the opponent? Because as we know in NFL, if you don't, and the other team, particularly the one that came off a bad loss and they're at home, they're going to want to redeem themselves and they're going to be ready. And the 49ers didn't match that energy or whatever the Texans brought to the table. And by the time they really got going, they were playing an uphill battle, and it doing them at the end of, costing in the whole game.
Yeah, Mason, absolutely. It was an uphill battle. By the time they got going, it was halftime. And then they came out of halftime with a 3-and-out, just like that. And you suddenly feel like all the momentum they had just gained by scoring that touchdown right before the break was immediately zapped. And then the Texans go on a long touchdown drive or on a long drive once again, and then you feel like all the progress you just made immediately went away. I think Mason brings up a good point. It's what I was talking about earlier, Sterling, just the time of possession. And like as the game goes along, it gets increasingly more difficult on the defense. That's not necessarily all the defense's fault. The offense at a certain point has to just control the ball and allow the defense to catch their breath and get ready for the next drive. But over the course of this entire game, Sterling, time of possession, Houston 41 minutes and 22 seconds. The Niners 18 minutes and 38 seconds. That is absurd. Absolutely ridiculous. And the second half was like not crazily in favor of Houston. That was almost specifically the entire first half, the way that it went. Second half wasn't as bad. It was still in favor of Houston. But wow, the time of possession was just an absolute nightmare. And when that's the case, already going with a young defense, that you just can't expect them to buckle up down the stretch because they've been on the field for almost the entire game, Sterling.
And it's okay to ask a star-studded, or at least when this defense has Fred and Nick and Bryce Huff and they're fully healthy, to play bend, don't break defense for a full 4 quarters. You can do that, right? But look at the offense so far for San Francisco. Week 1, 17 points. Week 2, 26 points. Okay, that's not bad. Week 3, 16 points. Against Jacksonville, 21 points. Against the Rams, 26 points in overtime. Against Tampa Bay, 19 points. Against the Falcons, 20 points. And today, 15 points. Yeah, look, the defense had a lot of problems today and deserves to get a lot of credit for the loss in itself. But the offense this year, for a lot of reasons, don't have their quarterback. The receivers have been in and out. George Kittle's now back for 2 weeks in a row. That's awesome to see. But this offense, and we've been saying it for weeks, you cannot average less or up to 20 points a game and expect to win in the National Football League in 2025. You can't do it. This offense is limited. They're not dynamic enough. They don't push the ball downfield enough. And they have to get better because now this defense is banged up. They can't play bend, don't break for 4 quarters. And if you ask them to, you will lose games like this because your offense scored 15 points today. It's not good enough. It's never going to be good enough. And it hasn't been good enough all year long. You're just thankfully you have Eddie Pinheiro back there making 6 field goals a game to help get you W's. But today he was called upon, once maybe?
Once.
He wasn't even out there really. So this offense has to be better to help their, right now, reeling defense that is hindered in so many aspects.
Yeah, Niners 2 touchdowns, and they went for 2 the second time. So only 1 kick by Pinheiro. He made his extra point, and that was it, which I guess is kind of a good thing because the times you got it into the red zone, you actually scored touchdowns, but you had so many fewer drives getting across midfield in this one as well. All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, more time for your calls, your texts, 888-957-9570, plus Kyle Shanahan has addressed the media postgame. We will hear from him. We got 1 more hour left with you on overtime. It's Grandy and Sterling. Niners fall in Houston, 26-15. More overtime next.
From 20th Century Studios, discover why critics are calling Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere, an intelligent journey into the soul of an artist. Enter at Odyssey.com Big 98.1 for your chance to win $100 and movie passes for a night out to see Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere. Now playing only in theaters.
Bay Area, what's up? It's your guy, Bonte Hill, shouting out my friends at Ceremony Ford. If you think you missed your chance to save on an electric ride, think again. Ceremony Ford is dropping a deal you don't want to sleep on. You can lease a 2025 Mustang Mach-E Premium with extended range for just $299 a month. Yeah, you heard that right. An all-electric Mustang for under $300 a month. And if electric's not your vibe, no worries, my friends. Ceremony's got a massive lineup of new and pre-owned Fords ready to roll. F-150s, Broncos, Escapes, you name it. Right now, I'm rolling in the Explorer myself, and man, I love it. And let me tell you, these folks don't play games or haggle. Just good, honest people taking care of Bay Area drivers like you and me. So swing by Ceremony Ford, right off 280 on Ceremony Boulevard, or check out that Mach-E lease for just $299 a month at ceremonyford.com. Ceremony Ford, You bet you're at Ford store.
So, how's your research going?
Surprising. After I figured out the top-rated TVs in our price range, I went shopping for deals.
And who's the best?
It wasn't the internet, and it wasn't the warehouse club.
But?
It was video only. They had better deals on the Samsung, LG, and the Sony TVs that got the highest scores.
Better than online and at the club?
I know! Video only beat them all. And now we can afford an even better model for the same price. My research really paid off.
If we buy it video only.
Exactly. Otherwise, we'll be sorry.
At Video Only, you won't find huge stores with refrigerators or microwaves, but you will find the best deals on top-rated TVs, soundbars, and monitors. Shop around. Just make sure you visit Video Only, because if you don't,
you'll be sorry.
In Mountain View, San Mateo, Union City, Dublin, and San Rafael. Video Only.
They say the hardest part of getting something done is getting started. Well, we did that 30 years ago, when California first took on the tobacco industry. Now, smoking is down 60%, lung cancer 52%. A couple of our cities have already ended tobacco sales. A California without big tobacco isn't just possible, it's already happening. See our progress at undo.org.
Comcast Business can help turn your small business into a connected, secure, modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How healthcare offices become the data-protecting caregivers that we all depend on. And how wealth management firms become cyber-securing guardians of your information. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, and Wi-Fi backup, your business can stay connected and get threat-ready with Comcast Business. Powering possibilities.
Now through November 16th. New Comcast Business customers can get started with 150 megabit internet plus security for $59.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, ask how to get a $500 prepaid card on a qualifying gig package. Call today. Restrictions apply. Requires enrollment in paperless billing and autopay with bank account. Early termination fee applies. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra.
When back to the office means back in
We
traffic.
have a number of emergency vehicles.
Turn to the traffic leader, KCBS.
Is still blocking the 3 left lanes.
Brought to you by your Northern California Honda dealers. It's time to trade up to the best. Get more for your trade and into a new Honda CR-V at your NorCal Honda dealers.
I'm Scott Hansen, host of NFL Red Zone. Lowe's knows Sundays hit different when you earn them. We've got you covered with outdoor power equipment from Cobalt and everything you need to weatherproof your deck with Trex decking. Plus, with lawn care from Scott's and, of course, Pit Boss grills and accessories, you can get a home field advantage all season long. So get to Lowe's, get it done, and earn your Sunday. Lowe's, official partner of the NFL.
Join Spadoni, Shasky, Steiny, Guru, Willard, and Dibbs for the Blue and Gold Summit live at Jackson Pleasant Hill Thursday, November 6th from 2 to 6 p.m. Come talk hoops, hang out, and enjoy happy hour specials from 2 to 6. Only at Jackson Pleasant Hill, November 6th. Don't miss it.
Trust the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts to recommend the products for your next oil change. Right now, get 5 quarts of Valvoline Full Synthetic Motor Oil and a Wix filter for $35.99. Plus, get a $15 gift card after rebate. Limits apply. See your O'Reilly Auto Parts store for details or shop O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at VaxAssist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM in HD1 San Francisco on Odyssey Sports Station. Always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch, and YouTube. Powered by First NorCal Credit Union.
12th play of this drive. Play action. Looking. It's caught. Jake Tonjes. National Tight End Day has 2 in the end zone for San Francisco. And the Niners very much alive deep in the heart of Texas.
Mac Jones, y'all.
Now back to overtime. Instant reaction to the game with Mark Grandy and Sterling Bennett. We are the Bay Area's football station. 95.7 The Game.
And that was Kevin Kugler on Fox calling Jake Tonjes only catch of the game. It came in the final minute of the third quarter, a 2-yard touchdown. The Niners would add the 2-point conversion, made it an 8-point game. It was a 1-score game going into the fourth quarter. The only score, though, in the fourth was a Kaimi Fairbairn 30-yard field goal. That made it an 11-point game. No scores the rest of the way, although the Niners, they were driving late in this game, around the 2-minute warning. I wanted to bring this up, Sterling, because moments like this always come to mind, and we actually got a text from one of our old producers. We got a text. One of our old producers here at 95.7 The Game. Craig, if you're listening, shout out Craig. Craig texted us, and let me set the stage first for what was happening. So Niners down 11, 26-15. And first of all, welcome back. It's overtime here on 95.7 The Game. I'm Mark Grandy, Sterling Bennett with us as well as always. We got some calls coming up in just a sec if you want to weigh in. 888-957-9570. So Niners had the ball. They were moving it pretty well. And they got to, let's see, the Houston 29 after a dump off to Christian McCaffrey for 12 yards. And that play happened with about 2.5 minutes left. The next play happened just before the 2-minute warning. They had to race to get that next play in before the 2-minute warning. And it ended up being an interception. An interception on an attempted throw, kind of a jump ball towards the end zone to Juwan Jennings. And that was the game at that moment. But at that point, Niners still had 2 timeouts and the 2-minute warning. You need 2 scores. No matter what happens, you need 2 scores. And whenever that's the case and the clock is becoming an issue, my mind wonders, when is the breaking point when a team should just say, you know what, forego the attempt to score a touchdown and kick the field goal, save time, and try to play, the timeout game with your defense. Get the ball back, maybe with like a minute and a half left, no timeouts, needing a touchdown and a 2-point conversion to force overtime. I don't know when the cutoff point is. I bring it up, Sterling, because I was thinking about it in this game, and we got a text from our old friend Craig, who also was thinking about it as well. I don't know where you fall in that, but at the very least, if I'm a play caller, I'm thinking about, okay, when's the situation that I just say, screw it, I'm kicking the field goal now. We'll worry about the touchdown later if we even get the ball back.
Well, and theoretically, that was a first down throw by Mac Jones.
Yes.
You could have hiked the football.
Could have spiked it. You're right.
Spiked it, stopped the clock, and kicked the field goal, maybe save yourself some time.
Yep.
However, whenever you get into conversations like this of, what about that Lenore interception? Could he gone down to the 30-yard line, got a field goal? It's like, that's when you know you're screwed. It's
exactly.
like when you're debating, like, well, what about this random play with 2 seconds left? And yeah, theoretically, does it make sense? Maximize your time and maybe give yourself one final drive with, let's say, I don't know, a minute left to score and no timeouts. Could it be done? Maybe, but I don't think the way this game was going, San Francisco had a chance to win, even if they were down by 4 points at that point in time. It felt like that the first team to 20 was going to win, and that's exactly what happened. Unfortunately for San Francisco, that happened in the third quarter, and they couldn't find some offense to pick themselves up. But, yeah, could it make some sense? Sure. Would it have been a smarter move? Yeah, if it pays off. We're sitting back like, oh, Kyle Shanahan, smartest coach in football. But now it's like, Niners weren't good enough today, and that's all it was.
Yeah, I mean, because I guess it comes down to what's more likely, that you're going to be able to score a touchdown on that possession, which you would be cutting it off short if you kick the field goal. But are you able to score quick enough to where you still don't have to go onside kick? Because if you have to go onside kick, it's over anyway, because you're not going to get the onside kick in today's NFL. So you have to score a touchdown, but you have to do it quick enough. At least if you kick the field goal, you guarantee yourselves the ability to just kick the ball away and get a stop with a 2-minute warning and 2 timeouts. And if you just stop them, they go 3 and out. You're still going to have a lot of time left. Now, that's a lot of ifs that have to play out. First of all, Pinheiro has to make the field goal attempt.
Right.
Which, the way he's been going, he was going to make it. But I don't know. It's just something to think about, because it is where there should realistically be a cutoff point, and the cutoff point is, do I not have enough time? Can I not score quick enough to where I would be able to avoid the onside kick? That's my cutoff, and they were getting pretty close to it at that point with the 2-minute warning and those 2 timeouts. Because anything beyond that, and you're getting the ball back with less than a minute, no timeouts, maybe 30 seconds, no timeouts, and then there's nothing you can do at that point.
Did you like the attempt on first down with just over 2 minutes left by Mac Jones to go for a touchdown on that play? Like, I didn't love that. Now, obviously, you're kind of bickering over like semantics of really, like, you have to score here, whatever. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter that much, and I'm not going to fault him for it. But it's like, it's first down. You don't have to go for it here. You want to, sure. You want to score fast and maybe give your defense a chance to get a stop. But I did kind of think, you don't have to force a throw. Juwan's a pretty slow dude, and he's pretty banged up, and he already dropped the deep pass for you early in the game. So maybe Juwan isn't the guy I'd target on that play, but to each their own. It doesn't matter. San Francisco was terrible today, so there's that.
Yeah, they absolutely were. 888-957-9570 if you want to weigh in. Just to give everybody an idea of how dominant the Texans were for the first 29 minutes of this game, Sterling, and the final numbers are very favorable in Houston's favor as well. But okay, after Houston's drive in the final minute of the first half, they got a field goal from 37 yards out that made it 16-0. And of course, this is a little uneven because at that point, the Texans, who got the ball first, had 4 drives. The Niners had 3 drives. But at that point, after 7 total drives in this football game with 58 seconds left in the first half, these were the numbers. Time of possession, 24 minutes for Houston to 5 minutes for the Niners. Plays, so offensive plays ran, 43 for Houston, 10 for the Niners. Total net yards on offense, 297 for Houston, 30 for the 49ers. Yes, that's a difference of 267 yards. Average gain was 7-3 in favor of Houston. That's average yards gained per play. Total first downs on offense, 14 for Houston, none for the 49ers. And the points were 16-0. Like this was an absolute domination, Sterling, to points that I have not seen in the NFL in quite a long time.
Well, to add on to that, you said at essentially the end of the first half, although it wasn't that just yet. 1 minute left, 7 total drives into the game. There was a yard differential of 260, is that right?
Yes, 267 yards difference.
Niners only had 223 yards the rest of the game total. They didn't even reach the number they were being outscored by and out-yardaged by.
So if
at the end of the first half.
If the Texans just gained no yards the entire second half, the Niners still would have outgained them today.
Yes,
that's what you're telling me.
223 for an entire 4 quarters of play.
Jesus.
They stink!
Jesus. I mean, the defense was still the worst of the 2 units today, considering their opponent, but we cannot pretend. I mean, the Niners ran the ball with running backs. Mac Jones ran twice for 23 yards. Those were both scrambles. Neither were designed runs. The Niners called, on plays that stood, the Niners called 8 runs today, Sterling. 8 runs. Christian McCaffrey had 8 carries. Mac Jones had 2. That's it. 8 carries for Christian McCaffrey.
That is the anti-Kyle Shanahan offense right there. And look, the Texans have a top 5 run defense in football. Like, let's not ignore that. But the fact that not just Nick Chubb, but also Woody Marks and C.J. Stroud all outgained Christian McCaffrey on the ground.
Wow.
Now, McCaffrey had 43 yards through the air, but this is the first game, I think, all year. CMC did not reach 100 yards from scrimmage.
And he wasn't close. He had 68.
And he only touched the football 12 times. Like, what? CMC touched the football 12 times? He's averaging 31 touches per game. 12 times? It's a great defense. Houston deserves plenty of credit for what they did today. But 12 times? What are we doing? Like, what is happening offensively? I get it. They're probably bracketing him and they're double covering him. All that makes sense. The film will dictate and tell us more. But just right now, in the wake of this terrible loss, your best player touched the football 12 times? 12. Woody Marks touched the football 15 times. Nick Chubb carried the football more than Chris McCaffrey touched the football. Like, what is happening?
Well,
what is the game plan?
I mean, a lot of that is they fell behind early and they just had to throw. But like that's been the case for all.
Throw to Christian McCaffrey.
The Niners not being able to run the ball, whether it's because of the score or just simply because they can't. Regardless, they've gone away from the run in every game but one this year. Yeah. Last week against the Falcons, they ran the ball, 39 times? Their goal was 40. They ran it 39 times. That was the only time their run game was like above average all season long. Wasn't terrible week one in Seattle, but still below average for the Niners standards. So it's not as if this was new to go away from McCaffrey in the run game, but to your point, still averaging around 30 touches per game because he's like top 5 in the NFL in catches. And this is something that you brought up earlier, Sterling. For the majority of this game, I'm just sitting there, and part of me is biased because I do have McCaffrey on a fantasy team. So, feed the ball to McCaffrey. But when nothing is working for you offensively, you're getting behind the sticks. You have no time to throw. I was just wondering and waiting. All right, where are the wide receiver screens to McCaffrey, the tight end screens to Kittle, the little dump-offs over the middle to McCaffrey and to Kittle? That should have been the offense today because there's no time for Mac Jones to throw. Your receivers are dropping passes 30 yards down the field. Yeah. I was a little flabbergasted, Sterling, just by the Niners' lack of, willingness to just lean on Old Faithful, which is what they've done all year. Just dump it off and let your studs go and gain 15 yards after the catch.
To make matters worst, whatever the phrase is, worse.
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey got his first touch that was not negated by a penalty with 14 minutes and about 52 seconds into the second quarter. Now, a lot of that is the Texans' drives being long and grueling, but CMC didn't get his first real touch of the game until the second quarter. That was his first time, I think, in his entire career. Like, how?
Yep.
How is that the case? And there was a drive early in the game where we were talking about it on Twitter, or I guess X, whatever it's called now.
I call it Twitter.
Where they run the football for 8 yards on a first down. It make it 2nd and 3, 2nd and 2, and they pass it next 2 plays. It's like, you got 8 yards on the first play on the ground. You don't ever get that with this team. This offensive line can't run block for anything. You're getting 8 yards. Run it again. If you get 2 yards, it's a first down. You get a quarter of what you just got. It's a first down. And look, there's so much to go over and how terrible San Francisco was today. The first drive of the game for San Francisco was very indicative of how this one was going to go. Houston marches all the way down the field, 16 plays, 57 yards, 9 minutes and 39 seconds. Oof. The first 3 plays of offensive play for San Francisco. A run by Christian McCaffrey, called back for illegal formation, offsides on Houston on 1st and 15. Now it's back to 1st and 10. Here's a 15-yard penalty on Juwan Jennings, negating a first down run for Mac Jones.
Yep.
Back-to-back penalties, 2 of them being on San Francisco. That, to me, told me everything I had to know as to how this game was going to go. Sloppy, can't run, can't pass, and lo and behold, you get a loss because of it.
Yeah, and this is exactly what you're talking about, just like a sign of what the game was going to be for the Niners. How do you, on your first play of the game, which is scripted, by the way, by Kyle Shanahan, does not matter what the Texans' first drive is going to be. They could have scored a touchdown on 1 play. They could have scored a touchdown on 27 plays. Does not matter. Right. You're down 7, up 7. First play is the first play that Shanahan scripted in his prep leading up to this game. How do you, Sterling, on that first play, have an illegal formation? Just knowing the kind of coach and football guy that Kyle Shanahan is, I guarantee you there are fewer things that piss him off more than that. First play of the game, illegal formation? Are you kidding me? That was just sign number 1. I mean, really, there was a bunch of them already on defense before that. Sign number 1, though, on offense, that this team was just not ready to compete in this game today.
But even then, it's like your defense holds them to 3. Hey,
Yep.
You got a field goal. Like, you played bend, don't break. Yeah, it was a long drive. The Falcons did the exact same thing against you. Okay, your offense goes out there. They put up 3 games tied, score 7 games tied. Like, there's a very easy way to look at that and say, oh, first drive jitters, whatever. They'll figure it out later. But for the offense to essentially go 3 and out, like back-to-back-to-back drives and give their defense no help, have no fight, if you will, like, it shouldn't take. And this may be the first time since, 2022, 23, if ever, under this regime, the special teams had to jumpstart the entire team. Brian Robinson, who was traded to be your second running back behind Chris McCaffrey, to be your Jordan Mason replacement, is now on kick returns because Garendel got benched because he wasn't good enough for it. He gets you like a 47-yard return, get you onto Houston's 50, face mask. Special teams, it actually is pretty good today. For all the units, special teams was not the problem for the first time in 2 years.
It was the best unit by a mile. Now, that says so much more about the offense and defense than about special teams. But Sky Moore made the right decision to let a punt bounce. It was going to bounce at the 5. It was down to the 2.
Dude, there was a kick return today.
That was still the right decision by Sky Moore. What happens is what happens, but the process was right, which is the first time I can say that in a long time.
There was a kick return today where he didn't block anybody. He ran into the back of his blocker and left Brian Robinson to dry.
I missed that.
Dude, who you blocking? You're going to help tag team somebody who's already getting blocked? Like, come on, man. Like,
Sky Moore got a deep target in the passing game today, Sterling. What the hell is up with that?
And he had no idea where the ball was. He was like, where's the ball at? I don't know what's going on. It's like, why is he out there? Why is Sky Moore getting offensive reps over Jordan Watkins? Yeah, it's Jordan Watkins. Kind of dropped the pass later in the game. It was kind of high, whatever. But, like, why is Sky Moore, who was traded from the Chiefs because he wasn't good enough, when they didn't have Rashee Rice this year to begin the season and lost Xavier Worthy, why is he getting reps over your 5th-round draft pick making his NFL debut? Why? It's small stuff, but it's like, really?
The Chiefs are just the haven for veteran, like, anonymous receivers. And if they don't want you, then you know something is up with that guy. But, I mean, Sky Moore was brought in here to be, like, an emergency wide receiver if needed. The Niners are down multiple receivers right now. And also, they don't really want him to do anything on special teams. So, I don't know. I guess it kind of is what it is at this point.
By the way the injuries were going, I'd rather have CJ West be activated on Sundays than Sky Moore at this point. Like, you got to have bodies, and the receiver room can go with 4 guys. They're going to be just fine.
Yeah. Man, that was a rough one for the 49ers. I felt instantly transported to last year, although last year, Sterling, and I know you felt this way, I'm sure a lot of Niner fans felt that way as well. You get towards the second half of last year, and you just suddenly became numb to what that season was. It didn't really hurt you the way that some other Niner losses hurt you. This one, considering that they were 5-2, the Niners, they're just coming off of, I mean, in my opinion, top 3 most impressive wins of the year, and there's only 5 of them to choose from. But, like, you do it without Fred Warner, without Nick Bosa, and you shut down Bijan Robinson to levels that very few teams have done in his career, and you win that game by double digits, your first 2-score win of the season. You set the expectations awfully high for yourself, and now you do this. You lay an egg on the road versus a worse team. It stings a little bit more because of the expectations, Sterling, and now maybe we had a caller earlier who talked about, like, being on the roller coaster of this season. Now we're right back on the roller coaster, and we're headed downward. And it's hard for me in my head. Maybe I'm an emotional watcher of the 49ers, but it's hard for me in my head to think that this is going to get loads better for the defense, because I just don't see the dudes there that are going to be on this roster at any point. You were talking about trade deadlines and guys mentioning people like Quinnen Williams or like Trey Hendrickson, and yeah, sure, those are big names. I would be shocked if something like that were to happen. There will be additions, just simply because the Niners don't have enough healthy bodies. But the additions are going to be guys that are on maybe opponents' practice squads, or guys that get waived at certain points, or guys that cost you a 7th-round pick. You're also getting the player and a 6th-round pick back. Like, it's costing you basically nothing in order to get those players here. That's probably what we're looking at, and those acquisitions don't feel like they're going to move the needle for me really at all, Sterling.
Well, think about this. I believe they have 1 week until the trade deadline. After week 9 against the Giants, which who knows how that game goes, that's the trade deadline.
Yep.
Like they have 1 week to decide if they're willing to go all in or go acquire 17 Jordan Willises at the deadline and hope to work things out with, hey, Jordan Willis, big block punt against the Packers in the playoffs, I'll take it. But the thing is, they're not going to get healthier, usually at least, as the year goes on. Like, they're going to get more dinged up, more injured, and you hope guys can come back and maintain their health, and I want everybody to be healthy. This team, I think, can be really good if they're fully healthy, but the odds would say the longer you play, the odds of getting injured go up. And right now, from today all the way back to when Shanahan took over in 2017, on the broadcast, they put this stat on there. The Niners players have missed 2,036 total games since Shanahan took over. That does not include what Samuel Kawani may miss, Jordan Elliott may miss, and everybody else that's currently injured may miss going forward.
Yeah, like it doesn't include Nick Bosa and Fred Warner's that are out for the year, that are not playing again this year.
Right. Over 2,000 games since 2017. Like, what is happening? And you can talk about things. That's almost 230 games missed per year by this roster. You can't do that. You can't do that at all. That's at least 4 games missed by each player each year since 2017.
Yeah.
That's
ridiculous.
It's incomprehensible. And that's why I can't just sit back and say, oh, when they get healthy, the odds are they're not going to get healthy. Yeah, Purdy may come back, and Pearson might come back, and Ayuk may come back, and we can sit here and say, oh, the offense is ready to go again. But the numbers, the history would say, this is the defense they're going to have to play with the rest of the year. There ain't no Fred. There ain't no Bosa. But you got to figure things out. And if you can't, you're going to lose games like this more often than not, which I think this team is better than today. I think they can beat the Giants and be 6-3. But right now, you lost. Now you're in 3rd place in the NFC West. So it's a big loss for San Francisco in a lot of reasons. That one being the standings, probably the biggest one of the bunch.
Yeah, we got to hit a break. We'll come back here from Kyle Shanahan and more time for your calls if you want to weigh in. 888-957-9570. As far as it relates to health, Sterling, we could be honest with ourselves and say Brock Purdy plays in this game. Niners still lose. They still lose. Like, Brock Purdy is still, in my mind, a better quarterback for this offense than Mac Jones.
Sure.
But they lose this game with Brock Purdy. Like, they could be healthier. They still lose this game. Like, and I don't think it would have been that close either. So we can get into that as well when we return, plus Kyle Shanahan's full post-game pressure. We will hear from the head coach as the Niners fall to Houston 26-15. We got a half hour left with you. If you want to weigh in, give us a call now, 888-957-9570. What frustrated you the most with this Niner loss? 26-15, the final. The Niners now 5-3. Time for a break. More overtime coming up next on 95.7 The Game.
Did you know that most people wait 6 or 7 years before they buy a new TV? That's a lot of time in front of one TV. So why not get one of the best sets for the next 7 years? Like one of the top-rated Samsung, LG, or Sony models. Too expensive? What if you could get up to $1,000 trade-in for your old set? Who would do a stupid deal like this? Right now, at Video Only, you can get big bucks for your old set as a trade-in and a hot price on the new models. Don't be sorry. Check out Video Only.
We finally switched to T-Mobile because with them, we can be connected here and there.
Let's watch a movie.
And we have Netflix included to enjoy our favorite shows and movies.
¿Qué tal esta? Bacanísima, pero ya la vi.
Now the hard part is getting them to agree on a movie.
Switch today and get the new Samsung Galaxy S25 Plus with Galaxy AI, all on the best network in the U.S. Visit a store, T-Mobile.com, or call 1-800-T-Mobile. 1-800-T-Mobile. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla. Speed Test Intelligence Data 1H 2025.
Doors and loading dock equipment are a crucial part of your business, and one you probably don't think much about until they break. A broken door or dock leveler can be a real security threat, along with disturbing the flow of goods in your business. Luckily, RNS is here for all your commercial door, dock, and gate needs. From overhead doors and security shutters to fire-rated and personnel doors, RNS can provide your business with safety and security. Call 800-FIX-A-DOOR to schedule a free estimate or visit rsdoors.com. RNS Doors. Look for the red truck.
Hi, I'm Dustin, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company.
I know finding a dream engagement ring can be overwhelming, but don't worry, we got you. As director of diamond sourcing, it's my job to make sure every single diamond at Shane Company is truly the best of the best. Our team travels the world to see diamonds up close, in person. We handpick each one for its unique fire, brilliance, and scintillation. Diamond buying is an art. Of course, we look at cut, color, clarity, and carat, known as the 4 C's, but that's not all. We also look at how each diamond looks on a hand, where it will be worn, how it makes you feel, and if it's worthy of a Shane Company customer. That type of expertise only comes from working for a company that's been a family business since 1929. We also think about your budget. We only pick the best in each grade in all shapes and sizes. Your diamond is guaranteed to be the most beautiful because a friend wants you to pick from only the best. Drop by your store or shaneco.com and see for yourself. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Jumpstart MD is your Bay Area expert in weight loss and hormone care. And October is Menopause Awareness Month. Let's be real, one size fits all doesn't work. That's why Jumpstart MD created a personalized program that combines weight loss and hormone optimization, all for one low price. Even better, you'll save $200 this month when you choose the plan that fits your life. With 13 Bay Area locations and online visits, expert support is always within reach. Call 855-JUMPSTART or visit jumpstartmd.com to reclaim your energy, your balance, and your confidence.
In sports, success is about team effort, and the same is true for your hair. At Great Clips, we save your haircut details in clip notes, so every member of the highly skilled team knows exactly how to create your signature look. And with our easy-to-use app, you can check in from anywhere and get a ready next text when you're up next for a cut. It's the confidence of a great haircut delivered by a team you trust. Download our app today. Great Clips. It's gonna be great.
What if you had the smartest Wi-Fi? If you did, it'd be Xfinity, of course, and it'd come with their best state-of-the-art equipment. It would boost speeds to the devices that needed them most, prioritizing your most important connections, whether you were streaming, gaming, or gaming while pretending to work. And it would let you stream 4. That's right, 4 games on one screen. It would even power your mobile connection so you could bring faster, secure Wi-Fi speeds with you where you use it most. It would be proactive and fix problems before you knew you had them. Impressive, right? And it would have security features that protect you from threats at home and online. Kinda like a force field for your life. If you had the smartest Wi-Fi, well, everything would work together seamlessly to keep you connected, no matter what. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free no-risk consultation. 800-979-3168. 800-979-3168. You have nothing to lose but everything to gain. 800-979-3168.
Red and Gold Game Day starts at Laughing Monk Brewing. Park for free. Enjoy amazing food, ice-cold beer, and every game on TV. Catch 95.7 The Game's pregame show. Then hop on the free shuttle straight to the stadium. Sign up now at 957thegame.com.
Check the fullback in motion. Rolling right, throwing wide open. DeMarcus Robinson. It's an 8-point game in Houston. San Francisco trying to get up off the mat. And they're within 8 late in the third.
Mac Jones, y'all.
Now back to overtime. Instant reaction to the game with Mark Grandy and Sterling Bennett. We are the Bay Area's football station. 95.7 The Game.
Yeah, we are. And that call, Kevin Kugler on Fox, one of the few moments that the Niners had hope in this game. It was first the Jake Challenges 2-yard touchdown catch, then the Demarcus Robinson 2-point conversion. Niners within 8, late third quarter. They would not score again, although they did drive late in the fourth quarter. At that point, though, they were down by 2 scores. They ultimately lose this game 26-15. They're now 5-3. I mentioned off the top that we'll let you know what's happening around the NFC West. I said that I know that all the other teams are on a bye. I had forgotten it. But yeah, Rams off, Seahawks off, Cardinals off. So the NFC West standings now currently are Rams 5-2, Seahawks 5-2, Niners 5-3, then Cardinals 2-5. So Sterling, with today's loss, the Niners now third place in the NFC West.
So much for that tiebreaker, right?
Yeah.
Like, it only lasts so long, and you hope, San Francisco can come back and win next Sunday against the Giants and everything, and maybe there is some good health along the way for them, and fingers crossed that's the case. But the season's not going to get any easier for you, right? You're banged up now. Now you're playing the Rams in 2 weeks without your star defensive players. You have to play Seattle without Nick Bosa, who was the reason you won that game late, thanks to the Brock Purdy, Jake Tunges touchdown, but also Nick Bosa's strip sack of Sam Darnold. Like, a lot of the reasons you won earlier are because of plays by players you're not going to have later. So you want to see how tough this team can be and how well coached they are. This next 4 to 5 week stretch will be a big testament to that, and hopefully it's good enough to get them somewhere in the playoffs.
Just looking elsewhere around the NFL this week, Sterling, we were talking a little bit about how impressive that Niner win was last week versus Atlanta. When they held Atlanta to 10 points and they won by double digits, their first double-digit win of the season. Not that it wasn't impressive, because it was, but did you see what Atlanta did today, Sterling?
I did not, Mark.
They're hosting Miami. Now, the Falcons, without their quarterback, Penix suffered an injury late in that game versus the Niners. He did not play, but they got a quality backup in Kirk Cousins, a highly paid backup in Kirk Cousins. They also were without Drake London, so down
that's Kirk O'Banks to you, Mark.
Kyle Shanahan's favorite. Down
exactly.
2 of their most important offensive players, and their quarterback and their star receiver. But no problem, you're hosting the Dolphins, the most dysfunctional team in the NFL, for my money, at least this season's version of the NFL. And the Miami Dolphins go into Atlanta, and they win 34-10 over the Falcons. The Dolphins, 34-10 over the Falcons. This came in on our YouTube chat. Everything we do on YouTube, powered by First NorCal Credit Union. I forget exactly who wrote it. I'm trying to scroll back and find it. My apologies. I can't give you the proper credit. But that Niner win over the Falcons from last week feels a little less impressive, considering the Dolphins just beat the Falcons by 24, Sterling.
I think we've learned today that the NFL, as it always has been, is a matchup league. Sometimes you play a great game against one opponent and you just have their number, and you press all the right buttons and your scheme just outplays their scheme and everything works out for you. And then you have days like this where San Francisco plays Houston and they get out schemed, they get outgunned, they get outmatched, they get out tackled, whatever it may be. Thankfully they have a bounce back against the Giants. But there have been a couple times this year where some of San Francisco's big wins don't look so great a couple weeks later. But a win's a win, and unfortunately for San Francisco, a loss is also a loss. So gotta get right, Mark, against a tenacious but still bad Giants team next Sunday.
Yeah, they got a little more swagger to them, but now without Cam Scatterboo, who went down with a serious ankle injury. We'll see how they bounce back. They had
Did you see the tush push fumble that wasn't called a fumble?
The Giants got absolutely hosed today.
Terrible.
They were playing the Eagles in Philadelphia. There was I think it was a fourth down, maybe it was third, but it didn't matter because it was a fumble that was recovered by the Giants. So it would have been Giants ball no matter what. But it was inches to go or 1 yard to go for the Eagles, and they were in deep field goal range, I think. And Jalen Hurts tries to get the tush push, initially stopped, stretches the ball out, and stretched it out over the first down line. But as he does it, Kayvon Thibodeau, by the way, trade target potentially,
Go Ducks.
Go Ducks as well, rips the ball out from Jalen Hurts and would have stood up, recovered the ball, and ran in for a touchdown. He could have walked in for a touchdown, 60 yards, but it was not called a fumble. They say his forward progress was stopped which makes no sense because when he fumbled the ball, Sterling, he was still in the process of moving the ball forward. So there's no way your forward progress could be stopped. And then later, I believe it was it to Wan'Dale Robinson? I forget who the receiver was. Some deep shot to a giant receiver. Would have gone for like a 60-yard touchdown, called for offensive pass interference on the weakest, softest OPI call I have ever seen. The Giants lost by 18. Philly was a better team today. I'm not arguing that, but the Giants got absolutely hosed on 2 terrible calls today.
Ban it, ban it, ban it, ban it. It's time to ban the tush push.
You don't even got to ban it. Just officiate it correctly. Like, what are we doing? That's a touchdown.
The false starts,
that's a
the
touchdown at the
now.
goal line, because if you cross the goal line with the ball in your hand, it's a touchdown no matter what happens a split second after. But you can get the first down. The play's still live. I don't know how that was not a fumble. I just had to get that off my chest.
The Niners wish they could have pushed their way offensively the entire game today. They may have had more than 15 points in this one.
Yeah. All right, let's hear from Kyle Shanahan. Niners head coach addressed the media post-game in Houston after the Niners fall to the Texans. Final score 26-15. Here is Kyle Shanahan's full post-game press conference.
What jumps out at you at the defensive struggles you had just getting off the field?
A little bit of everything. I mean, it wasn't good enough at all in all 3 phases. Special teams played the best, but I thought we struggled to tackle. Struggled to get a rush. Thought we made too many mistakes in the secondary on some of our zone dogs, and felt like we didn't challenge them enough in man either. So a little bit of everything.
Kyle, obviously got more injuries on that side of the ball today. I mean, obviously we're talking about tackling and fundamental stuff, but I mean, is part of it just a lack of healthy bodies and the talent level?
Yeah, it makes it harder. But we played a lot better last week, so we can do a lot better than we did today.
Are any of those injuries today potentially serious, or?
We'll see. Hopefully not. 2 ankles didn't look like highs. D. Winters with his knee, just inflammation, things like that. So hopefully we'll be all right.
How did you feel when played?
He made some plays, and he missed some too. I don't think anyone on offense did that good. We had to really take advantage of, they held on the ball as good as any team that I've been around, just going against them. We had to really take advantage when we did get the ball and made too many mistakes. When the defense is out there for that long, we can't go 3 and out. Had too many of those today, and I thought Mac made some big plays. The touchdown at the end of the second quarter, the touchdown to JJ down the field, but just collectively as an offense, too many mistakes.
In a game like this, damage your team's morale, spirit, or even
I would hope not. I mean, got beat today. Credit to them. They kicked our ass, and we got to take it like men and come back, hopefully a little pissed off, and go to work and play better next week than we did this week.
Was that kind of your message to the team?
Yeah, definitely. There's not much to sugarcoat there. I was real disappointed in how we looked for all 4 quarters. First half was unacceptable, and second half didn't get much better. So not much to say about it, except that we'll look it on the plane and figure out all the things that we know we can correct and that we did mess up. But expect the guys to come in tomorrow with a chip on their shoulder, ready to get back to work.
You got the Kittle touchdown right before halftime and then Debo's interception. Did you think things were turning for the second?
I knew we had a chance to, especially when we were starting with the ball out there. I still thought we had a chance at the end in the fourth quarter. I thought there were a couple opportunities where we could have came back, and we didn't stop them there. We made it a 2-score lead there at the end, which was tough. But they outplayed us a lot today. But I still thought we had our opportunities to find a way at the end, and we didn't get it done.
Is it too greedy to want more to go out of bounds so you can maybe do something in those last?
It'll be good stuff for us to review with them. I think it's tough. There's 11 seconds before the play, so we need awareness of that when it happens. I do think when you catch it by the sidelines, and I think he has time to look to score. But I think once we can't, we got to get down immediately. So I think it is a little greedy just getting on him for that. I thought it was a hell of a play by Demo. It was nice to break that stretch that we've had of not getting a pick. But it'll be a good learning situation to kind of cover with all our guys tomorrow.
Kyle, same question. With the trade deadline even more imminent, but as far as getting some defensive reinforcement or two, does today change your perception of what you've been saying?
No, nothing changes anything. It has to do with what's available out there, and does it help us this year? Does it help us next year? So usually as things get closer, you get a little more idea on who's real and who's not, and we'll evaluate that for the short term and long term.
Was the defensive game plan to force the Texans to execute long drive?
No. No, it wasn't.
There is an element that can't be controlled, is injuries, and that plays such a big role, especially out there today. Is that frustrating for you as a coach, trying to find the answers to some of that?
I mean, injuries are part of the game. I mean, I kind of used to get a lot more frustrated with it, and I'm a lot more used to it just over my career. And it's, the frustrating part is trying to find answers and not working throughout that game.
And Coach, you got a local guy on your team in Upton Strout. Can you just say what you've seen him add to the team in practice and also on the game field?
Yeah, I've been real happy that we got Upton. We loved him in college, and we loved him since he's been here, and it's good to get him back out there today after his injury from last week. But he's a young guy with a promising future.
Take 2 more guys.
Were you happy with the effort that guys put there? Obviously, there were mistakes, but effort-wise, were you happy with that?
I mean, there's no place in particular where I was question anybody's effort. I'll be able to see that in more detail when I get on the plane. I feel collectively, just as a whole, I wish I felt our team a little bit more today. But there was nothing where I saw guys loafing or anything like that. But it's a little easier for me to see when I study the tape.
When you say you wish you felt the team more, you just mean from like an energy?
Just coming out. I mean, I felt them in the locker room and stuff, all that and everything. But just that first half was tough. I think it was 14 first downs to 2. Just the time of possession and everything like that. It was just it was a tough first half, an unusual first half.
Kyle, it seemed like, based on what happened with defensively last week, it was like, hey, maybe against all odds you guys can overcome both. I know Warner. Is it, I don't know, in some ways a reality check of you've got to have those type of players on the field. There's going to be a big drop.
I mean, our reality is pretty realistic on what we deal with every week. So we knew we had a tough game versus Atlanta, and we felt we had a tough game today. So all those things, you guys can write about that stuff. But, yeah, it's definitely harder when you lose really good players. But we've had that situation throughout this year, and all I want us to do is play as good as we can play, and then you can deal with whatever. And today we didn't play as good as we could play.
All right, that's Kyle Shanahan post-game in Houston after the 49ers fall. Final score 26-15. One of the first things that he said, Sterling, stands out to me still as we were sitting here listening to him. Asked about just in general the loss, and he said, we got beat today. Credit to them. They kicked our ass. We got to take it like men, come back a little pissed off, and come back better than we did this week, which is essentially, I would imagine, the opposite of what happened this week, because they came out of last week beating the Falcons, feeling really good about themselves despite all their injuries, and there were a couple of others that missed this game today that played last week, most notably Bryce Huff. That is a big absence, but for the most part, Sterling, we're talking about the same team from last week to this week, and just entirely different feelings around the way that this team played.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a lack of punch. I don't know if it, they were feeling themselves too much. It just felt like they walked into the game, and it was almost as if they didn't actually have a game plan. And there was a question in there to Shanahan of was the plan to make the Texans have these long, grueling drives? And he was like, no, it wasn't the plan. Well, then what was the plan? Because every single drive was 6.5 minutes plus, and they were starting on your own 2, and their own 8, and their own 12, and their own 20, and still making it into the red zone over and over again. I don't think what were the drive outcomes in this game? You go to the Houston Texans here, their first drive, field goal. Second drive, field goal. Third drive, touchdown. Fourth drive, field goal. Fifth, their first 6 drives, they scored points on. And look, sometimes they're just having a better day than you. But all of those drives felt like they were 6.5 minutes long. 10 plays, 5 minutes and 47 seconds. 12 plays, 94 yards, 6+ minutes. 11 plays, nearly 5 minutes. Every single drive was soft off-zone coverage. We're going to blitz. No one's going to get home, and we're not going to adjust for 3.5 quarters. And I get it. You want to blitz C.J. Stroud, put some pressure on the offensive line of the Houston Texans. They're really bad. But if that's not going to work, I'm sorry. You don't keep doing that. You want to make an adjustment. I think of one of the bigger things we have yet to hit on really is the lack of adjusting by Robert Saleh and even Kyle Shanahan. Yep. These are great coaches, top 5 coaches on defense and offense. There was no adjusting. Now, a lot of that is the personnel you have, but it's you got to have guys that can run your system, sure, but you also got to put guys in the right spots to succeed. The players didn't do that, and I got to say, the coaching staff didn't do it either.
No, they didn't. And now, to have Shanahan's back for a second here, the question was the plan...
Well, how dare you, Mark? How dare you have Kyle Shanahan's back?
Was the plan to force the Texans to execute long drives? And Shanahan said, no, that wasn't the plan. I'm calling him a liar on that. That is always the plan, because if that's not the plan, then the plan is... we're just going to give them 80-yard touchdown plays? Like, you want to force a team to have to beat you on 12 plays. And if you're going to score, you're going to execute on every single one of those plays over the course of a drive. That's hard to do. Now, the plan was to not let them do that, but that is the plan. Like, the plan is to force long drives because you want to avoid the explosive plays.
Yeah.
Now, you want to get the stop on third downs. Like, this game shifts entirely, Sterling, if they get a third down stop here or there in the first half. Like, entirely it shifts if they get a third down stop here or there. Now, to your point, I think that goes to show that there was an adjustment that needed to be made by Robert Saleh and the defense, because we talked about it off the very top. Why is Renardo Green and Upton Stout playing such soft coverage off of receivers on 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5? Just giving them underneath 8 yards when they need 4 or 5 to get the first down. That makes absolutely no sense to me. And maybe once over the course of a game, that's just a corner maybe missing a call or not understanding, the situation. But if that's happening over and over again, that to me feels like just a mismanagement by coaching. So to your point, I did think there needed to be some kind of adjustment made, and it just didn't happen over the course of the entire game.
On top of that, that's what we criticized the Rams secondary for and kind of thanked them for when they played San Francisco, not adjusting. Like, why are you playing soft off zone coverage against Mac Jones when you have Jared Verse and Kobe Bryant and all those guys? Meanwhile, the same thing can be said for San Francisco's defense, albeit they don't have their edge rushers. If you're going to blitz, you want to press some guys. You want to get the quarterback in trouble, and you want to make him have to throw into tight windows. And there was none of that. And I want to add this. Jair Brown might be the slowest and worst blitzing safety of all time. He can get into the backfield. He can never bring the quarterback down. Whether it's, and look, Kyler Murray's a fast guy. Couldn't get him. Couldn't even touch him. Couldn't even touch Stroud today. How many times did San Francisco have a defensive back in the backfield and they couldn't even get a hand on the quarterback? It's infuriating to watch, whether it's Mustafa, Stout, Jair Brown, have, whether it's receivers, running backs, quarterbacks, dead to rights. If you just touch them, they will at least have to fight through contact to make a play. And to have them miss completely, it's like, what are we doing? I'm sorry, just get a hand on somebody. And Upton Stout and Jair Brown had Stroud done for, and they missed him twice, and they got first downs both times because of it.
Jair Brown had a big stop on a 3rd and 1 on the first drive. He hit Nick Chubb extremely hard and wrapped him up, and that was his best moment of the game. But that came a couple of plays after Sterling. It was a 3rd and 11. 3rd and 11. First drive. This is what I'm talking about. The game shifts if you get a third down stop here or there, and the game would have shifted here. 3rd and 11. The Texans are right around midfield. First drive of the game. A slant to Braxton Berrios, who's more well-known at this point for who he's dating than his life as a football player.
Hey, we love them Carl's Jr. commercials, brother. We all do.
A slant to Braxton Berrios, who's only playing meaningful offensive snaps because of the injuries to the Texans wide receiver core. Slant. He needs to break a tackle and gain an extra 7 yards after the catch to get a first down. And Jair Brown just comes in and throws his body at him, makes no effort to wrap up. Berrios just bounces off of Jair Brown and gets the first down. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Those are the kinds of things that plagued the Niners all of last season and what they've been a lot better at so far this year. And that's where Robert Saleh gets a ton of credit just for those small things. But they did all of those small things wrong today.
There was a play today, and I've never seen, or I thought I'd never see this with the personnel they have. Mykel Williams was dropped in coverage over the middle of the football field. Now, I get it, you want to change looks up, but I was like, You only have 3 edge rushers. What are you doing? Like, you can't just dispose of one of those guys in coverage.
And as it stands, he's not really much of an edge rusher. He's more of a D tackle anyway.
I saw it and I was like, was that number 98? Why is... Okay, like, I don't mind a guy dropping back here or there, but it's like, not with this context of everyone being injured. No, that guy needs to be his hand in the ground going at the quarterback, and he misses the tackle and everything, but man, oh my gosh, it just frustrating day all around. So many question marks, and hopefully maybe some answers come in the next few weeks or so, but definitely leaving today's game with more questions about how this defense can bounce back than I thought I would. I thought they would hold this really bad Texans offense to under at least 23 points. I had them scoring 17, and they scored 26.
Yep.
Like, who thought that was going to happen on this game?
Yeah, I didn't predict 26. I thought maybe this game was going to be somewhere around 20-17, much like you, something like that, and it ultimately 20-17 in favor of the Niners, and it ultimately ended up being 26-15 in favor of the Texans. Niners now 5-3. They're down to 3rd in the NFC West behind both the Seahawks and the Rams, who are off this week. The Cardinals also off, but they're last in the NFC West. The Cardinals last, Niners 3rd, Seahawks and Rams both sitting at the top of the NFC West at 5-2. Meanwhile, the Niners up next. They go to New York to take on the Giants. 10 a.m. is the kick once again, so back-to-back weeks with 10 a.m. kicks. Niners at MetLife on that disastrous turf a week from today versus the New York Giants. Very scary because if we're out here talking about how we expect the Niners to just magically get healthier. Well, they play football games every week, and what happens in football games? You don't get healthier, you get more injured. So we'll see what is in store for the Niners coming up next week. We'll have you covered, of course, on the kickoff show at 8, and then Sterling and I will be back for overtime at 1 o'clock or so after that game in New York versus the Giants. Sterling, that's all the time we have today. I wish it was a more fun show with that after that performance. I wish it was after a Niner win. But great to hang out with you as always, and we'll catch up again next week.
Can't wait to do it against the Giants next Sunday. Hopefully it's a win. But you know what they say, Mark?
What do they say?
Things are bigger in Texas, and for San Francisco, it certainly means the losses are also bigger. The fans are panicking, Mark. We are in dangerous territory.
Hey,
hopefully they can get a win next Sunday.
They're 5-3 through 8 games. I predicted they were going to be 4-4, so they're ahead of schedule in my mind.
5 more wins should get you to a playoff berth. So fingers crossed, Mark. Fingers crossed. We're almost there.
And you've got, 9 games left?
Hey,
yeah.
Gotta be
just go 5-4.
Above 500.
Just go 5-4 the rest of the way, and you're probably in the playoffs. All right. That's all the time we got today. For my partner, Sterling Bennett, for my guys behind the glass, Cam and Steven, I'm Mark Grandy signing off. Thanks so much for tuning in. We're back next week with more overtime. Have a good day right here on 95.7 The Game.
Comcast Business can help turn your small business into a connected, secure, modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and